CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues is tracking the investigation from Washington. Jeff, what is the latest on that investigation?
Well, we got some good information from the FBI director at the opening of his remarks. He talked about that 911 call that has been discussed quite a bit over the last 24 hours. He mentioned that there were multiple calls to 911 involving Omar Mateen. There was one call that he made from inside the club as the mass shooting was unfolding to the dispatcher. At some point, he called the dispatcher back, and then the dispatcher had to call him back. So there was a series of calls there, and during those calls, he pledged his allegiance to ISIS's leader, also mentioned the name of an American suicide bomber who blew himself up in Syria, and then referenced the Boston Marathon bombers, the Tsarnaev brothers. So that was new information, more detail into that 911 call at the time of the mass shooting. Vlad?
Jeff, Director Comey saying that many times the FBI, when they're searching for these terror suspects, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but then they're also called to keep track of when those needles turn back into hay. They had looked into Mateen as a possible terror suspect. He was cleared. How do those past investigations influence the current one?
Well, you know what? He brought up something that he has said to those of us who cover the beat regularly quite a bit, and that is that the FBI over the last couple of years, because they are dealing with so many of these cases in all 50 states at one point, they have to prioritize these cases, and so they rank them on a scale, if you will, who is more likely to commit some sort of terrorist act, because they can't allocate all of their resources to all of the cases that they're investigating right now across the country. And so in this case, with this man, there was contact in 2013 because he was working as a security guard, a contract security guard at a courthouse, and some of his co-workers became concerned about some of his statements. He stated to them that he had sort of terrorist ties, and so the investigation, or rather the FBI inquiry, looked into that. It was a 10-month investigation, which that is a big deal for the FBI, because this is an investigation that we now know involved surveillance. There were interviews, multiple interviews with Mateen at the time. But after 10 months, he sort of acknowledged that he had made those statements in anger. And so they wrapped up that inquiry. But there was another inquiry, and that was in 2014, in which his name popped up in connection with an American suicide bomber who had blown himself up in Syria, the same man that during the mass shooting he referred to. And so during that inquiry, they looked into that again. His name popped up, but ultimately in that case as well, they cleared him.
All right, Jeff Pegues reporting from Washington. Jeff, thank you so much.